Hello guys, I am King Kaiju and I'm going to be doing the iceberg for part 3. So I'm not going to really waste too much of your time. You should probably know the formula at this point. One thing I gotta say before I start, I'm not going to be doing these in order. I'm going to be categorizing them. So I'm first going to start off with people and so on and so forth. So without further ado, let's get into the Dinotube Iceberg part 3. Alright, so like I said, we're going to start off with people, so here it goes. The first one is Rex King. I really don't have to say much about this guy since you're literally watching Rex King's channel at this very moment, but here's a brief rundown of it. He's most well known for two things: his series, Rulers of the Bedroom, and his current ongoing show, the Dinotube Iceberg. If you really want to know more about him, look at the channel you're watching. Next up is Kakakara34, which is probably one of the most famous old Dinotubers. He made a variety of dinosaur-related content, whether that be sounds, or even making a thing called the Theropod Club. I won't get too much into what the Theropod Club is for right now, but for a brief understanding at this moment, it's basically the sidemen for dinosaur YouTubers. For the next two, I'm just gonna clump them into one since they're ran by the same person. The first one is me, King Kaiju, and the second one is, hey, it's your boy, the ripoff Ranter. Yeah, so, where do I begin? I'll start with King Kaiju because I think he's the least problematic channel. I mostly make videos about dinosaurs, Jurassic Park especially, and to no one's surprise, I also make videos about kaiju. The Ripoff Ranter channel is a bit more, special. Long story short, Ripoff Ranter was a commentary channel that talked about things that happened in the Dinotube community. Sometimes it talked about things that were just happening on YouTube in general, or sometimes just things that popped into my head. Most of the videos, though, were pretty interesting to say the least, and usually had false information in them. I've basically abandoned the channel at this point because most of it's garbage. Next is RaptorBoy101, and this dude's very interesting because if he was not around, we would not have a lot of the Dinotube community that we have today. He influenced a lot of Dinotubers, but probably the most infamous is Bioniclesaurus. Most of his stuff is gone now off YouTube, but he does have a Vidly account where his videos are archived, so if you'd like to go check him out, I'll leave a link in the description. Also, he's got a TikTok, what the fuck? Next on the list is Tyrant's Domain. You might remember him from Layer 2 because he created Dinosaurs Unleashed. Other than that, Tyrant's Domain seems to make two types of videos: gaming videos and re-uploads of soundtracks. Next on the list is KikiZilla101. So the story of KikiZilla starts when he uploaded a video to his new channel in 2013. Unfortunately, I cannot find any info on his original one because throughout his first video, his mic sounds like this.
I'll stand up like this. See, there's 1.9, so there's probably 5 updates from now, and there's been 9 minor updates. And after that's done,
Okay, editing update. After some research, his original YouTube name was actually KikiRikiFilm200. I believe his first dinosaur-related video was this one, Dinosaur Collection Update Number 1, Part 1, Safari LTD, which was uploaded in 2015, but KikiZilla's entire channel would later go on to be entirely about dinosaurs, ignoring Godzilla altogether. KikiZilla also created a thing called Mesozoic Isle, but we will talk about that a little more in detail later. CoreyBaker92 is a very infamous Dinotuber, especially in the Jurassic Park side of it, because he's made several very big Jurassic Park videos. These mostly include Jurassic Park toy movies along with just other Jurassic Park related content, but as his description says, he makes videos about pretty much everything. And the next guy on the list has a very similar principle, that being Indominus Rex01. Also known as just Adam, this guy does literally everything. He does haul videos, he does figure news videos, he even has a series titled Dinosaur King Commentaries. This one is also an entry later in the iceberg, so I'll just knock it out right now. It's essentially a show where Indominus Rex and friends watch Dinosaur King and crack jokes. That's about it. He's also a good friend of mine, so go watch his videos. The next three I'm just gonna put into one category because they're all pretty similar, so I'm just gonna sum them up in one, Dinoman, Dinoxels, and Kristin the DinoQueen. They all make pretty similar content, so I'll just kind of sum them up with a few short sentences. Dinoxels is pretty infamous for being a very popular Instagram Dinotuber. You could maybe even call them a Dinogrammer. Dinoman used to be a pretty popular Dinotuber, but he's considered kind of retired now. He still does dinosaur-related content from time to time, but not really a ton anymore. Kristin the DinoQueen mainly produces shows like Spinosaurus Life and Dinosaur Island, but not Biontosaurus's Dinosaur Island. This is a different one. We now continue on to the other main people with Gloppy605. Gloppy605 is probably most infamous for creating the series Prehistoric, which is probably one of the most viewed Dinotube shows ever. He was dead for a few years on YouTube, but a year or two ago, he made like a slight comeback with a stop motion animation, so that's pretty cool, I guess. In the description of that video, it says that the creator of Gloppy605 is actually two people, a dude named Lewis and a dude named Jamie. Jamie was the original voice of most of the prehistoric stuff, while Lewis was the cinematographer. It also says that they're going to be making a comeback soon, so maybe we'll see that sometime. Next we have Darian the Dinosaur, and to best describe him, he is basically like the American version of Matthew the Dinosaur King. There really isn't a ton to it besides the fact that he reviews dinosaurs, so yeah, that's cool. Let's move on though. This guy is not on the iceberg, but I wanted to put him on it because I think he deserves some recognition. This is CHimerasuchus. Think Edge and Trey the Explainer, but he has a focus specifically on crocodilomorphs. He does make videos about dinosaurs and other prehistoric creatures, but he mainly focuses on crocodilians and other relatives of crocs and stuff. With that said, let's get on to the actual entries to the iceberg. So the next person is Mutosaurus, and Mutosaurus is pretty well known on YouTube. He's got about 1.5k subs. Muto's content is very, very strange, as in like there is some videos where he does Schleich ASMR. I really don't know what that means, but yeah, that's a video on his channel. And he does fairly normal videos as well, like he does toy hunts occasionally, and I believe he has a Dinotube show, or at least a kind of like model related show. I'm not sure if it has anything to do with dinosaurs, but I know that it is involved with Schleich, because it's literally called The Schleich Show. Actually, after looking through his channel, there's a lot of Schleich, actually. There is quite a few things that he has relating to the company. Other than that, he's pretty par for the course when it comes to Dinotubers, I think. He's got some fairly average videos, and then he occasionally has a couple weird ones. That's about it. Next on the list is Doug Watson. Doug Watson is a sculptor for Safari Ltd. who has made a lot of models that I'm showing on screen right now. Doug has also fallen to criticism at times because of the fact that he is very, very anti-criticism, apparently. There really isn't too much else to Doug, so I'll just move on to the next entry. The next person is Henderson Productions, and this is another Jurassic Park related channel that mainly made a lot of Jurassic Park movies. He still uploads them pretty frequently, but these are by far what he is best known for. I personally like Henderson Productions a lot because he inspires a lot of people, including myself, to make more toy movies like this. The next person is the Jurassic Park Collection. Also known as Astrid, she ran a channel that mostly covered a lot of Jurassic Park related content. Very unfortunately though, Astrid passed away in late 2019. To end it off on a high note, there is a lot of people who really, really loved her content and looked up to her because she was a really good channel. She covered a lot of stuff and she did it really well too. Rest in peace to the legend. The next person on this list is very, very special. His name is Zainereborn, and his channel is... I honestly don't even know how to describe it. I honestly want to tell you guys very little about Zainereborn's channel because it is an experience all in itself. I will tell you that in relation to Dinotube, he's in the Dinosaur King Commentaries series with Indominus Rex01, and he also has a series called Dino Duels, which is essentially where two dinosaurs fight each other. Or, in some cases, a dinosaur and a human fight each other. I say his content is an experience, though, because it just is. Here is his intro to give you kind of a taste of it, though. Next on the list is another really big player in the game, Fred the Dinosaur Man. Fred has been making videos on YouTube since 2009, and he mainly focuses on claymation. Something really funny I found out when looking into Fred is that his first video on his YouTube channel is actually a claymation of a Michael Jackson song. He doesn't really upload on YouTube a ton anymore, but he does do paleo art from time to time, which is really good. We're now down to the last three when it comes to people, and this is thankfully the majority of the iceberg. The first one of the Holy Trinity is Gus The Proceratosaur. Similar to Zainereborn, Gus The Proceratosaurus is a very weird YouTube channel, but I'd say Gus is a lot weirder. To be pretty blunt about it, most people just kind of clowned on him for a lot of his sillier videos. Most of his videos were really creepy and had a very strange fixation on Isabella Sermon, who is the actor who plays Maisie Lockwood in the Jurassic World films. Also, if any of you are confused, I know the channel said Guanlong36. This was just an old alias that he had. He also commented a lot of very strange things. He doesn't really upload anything like this anymore, nothing really that creepy, but he does still upload some odd videos. I can't show you this one because it has copyrighted music over it, but it is an edit of Franklin from Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom that has "We're All to Blame" being played over it. And if you don't know, Franklin is a really nerdy character in the movie, and if you know the song "We're All to Blame," that does not match him at all. But anyway, enough goofing on the Proceratosaur man. Who is next? Oh no. Camptodon has become pretty infamous recently because he makes a lot of videos about one particular person, Spinosaurus the King. And I mean a lot of videos about Spinosaurus the King. Camptodon has also made videos about games, and as well as that, occasionally an educational video. But I like to think of Camptodon as the ripoff Ranter for a new generation. For people asking me to come back to that channel, just go watch his fucking videos. And now we have came to the last entry when it comes to people, and it is by far my favorite person on the entire iceberg. May I present to you Majungasaurus Productions. Oh my god, I know. Applaud on more. This man deserves it. So with that being said, who is Majungasaurus Productions? He does a lot of dinosaur-related content, including the previously talked about Isle of the Mesozoic, but without a doubt the most popular thing he does on his channel is make dinosaur sound effects. Lots of people, including myself, use the sounds for projects that we work on, and because of that, Majungasaurus Productions has become a very big player in the Dinotube community. As you can probably tell, I'm a pretty big fan of Majungasaurus Productions. I really like his sound effects, and I think that Isle of the Mesozoic is one of the better DI type shows out there. But with that said, we are now done with people. I'm now going to move on to shows in the community, so without further ado, let us begin. The first entry on the series list is Claw and Order, made by some stupid sketch show guy. Also referred to as Dinotubers in a nutshell, this series is a comedical take on silly things that Dinotubers do. Like, for example, whenever Rex King was having trouble getting his Iceberg video out, some stupid sketch show guy made a parody of the situation because we were kind of fed up with the excuses. Like I said, it's just parodies of Dinotubers doing goofy stuff. Next up is the series that I talked about earlier, Mesozoic Isle. Mesozoic Isle's official first episode came out in April of 2019, titled Young World. The show quickly gained popularity, and episode 2 did not come out long after the first one, and the same thing happened. People really liked the show. But, unfortunately, episodes 1 and 2, along with a previously released prologue, are the only bits of Mesozoic Isle that we have seen thus far. In an announcement video, Kiki has said that he does plan on continuing Season 1 of Mesozoic Isle, but he does not really have any plans on making anything when it comes to the other seasons. However, there really has not been much update on it since then. Some people still hold out on it, some people have completely lost hope. I'll let you make your own decision to it. It's been a year, but hey, maybe one of these days Aiden's just gonna pull through and upload episode 3 and be like, boom, yeah, I did it. What you gonna do about it? Cry about it, you know, something like that. The next entry is a very famous one if you've been around Dinotube for a little bit, and it is Billy the Dimension Hopper. Hell yeah. So originally, Billy the Dimension Hopper was a character created by Camosaurus that appeared in a Halloween special around 2017. Funny enough, the pinned comment on that video is from Bioniclesaurus, and it says that he wishes Billy had his own show. You can kind of connect the dots from there. And as Bioniclesaurus wished, the following February, Billy the Dimension Hopper was officially released. I think the funniest thing about Billy the Dimension Hopper is not the actual series itself, but the fact that it has a Wikipedia. In this Wikipedia, you can click on characters to see things about them. My favorite one is Billy himself, because you click on it and it says that his skills are dimension hopping, and I don't know why, that's just really funny to me. Moving on, we now have a show from Spino Dude, you know, the infamous Spoon Man himself, and this show is the worst dinosaur toys, which is debatably one of my favorite Dinotube shows ever. Summed up, it's a show where Spino Dude goes on AliExpress and looks at very, very awful knockoff dinosaur toys. There's also occasionally an animal figure as well. So this next one has kind of a little bit of a backstory behind it. Basically, while we've been making these videos, Rex King has been kind of updating the iceberg as well. And this goofy goober decided to add a series and a person to the iceberg, but I have already finished my persons section. But here's the thing. The series is made by the same person that was added to the iceberg, so I'm going to sum them up in one and do it that way. The person in question is the RAPSCALLIOUS Red Dragon, and their series, the Spinosaurus Life. The Red RAPSCALLIOUS Dragon makes a lot of Dinotube videos, or did make a lot of Dinotube videos, that were pretty dated for today's standards.
His mother had taught him of many things. How to hunt, how to look for water, how to find shelter, or many other things.
As for the creator themselves, I really don't know what to tell you. It's a lot of similar videos to this. Anything of note really comes from Spinosaurus Life, not to be confused with the other Spinosaurus Life by Kristin the DinoQueen. Also, like Kristin, Dragon has a Dinosaur Island show as well. And really the only other thing to note is that they have not uploaded in about 4 years, so I guess you could consider them a dead Dinotuber. As for the show Spinosaurus Life, I really don't know what to say about it. It's a DI type show, and it has a Spinosaurus in it. It's on a dinosaur island, like they literally call it a dinosaur island. And other than that, it's one of the many examples of a dinosaur island type show throughout Dinotube's history. Thank you to Rex King for just making my job harder. Thankfully, I believe we only have 6 entries left in general, and those are split into 2 topics, the first one being companies. And first for companies, we have one of my favorites, the model making company, Bullyland. Now, I didn't know this before going into it, but Bullyland actually makes a lot of figures that are not dinosaur related. For example, Disney figures. But in Dinotube, they are known for their prehistoric models, which usually cover a lot of species that usually don't get models. One of my favorites is their Arizonasaurus. Bullyland still makes figures, but I would argue that their newer stuff is nowhere near in comparison to the retro dinosaurs and other prehistoric life that they used to make. But speaking of retro, our next company is probably one of the first dinosaur model making companies around, that being Invicta. Invicta was a British company that decided to make dinosaur models for natural history museums in 1974. And over the years, they've generally been considered very sought after figures because most people think of them as the first dinosaur model making company. And last in terms of companies is a dinosaur figure selling website that is generally considered very good, that website being Dejankins. Similar to Dan's Dinosaurs or Everything Dinosaur, Dejankins is a website where you can buy dinosaur models. I believe it was Bioniclesaurus who first gave them a shout out, and then everyone in the Dinotube community started using the website. And since then, they've become pretty popular for their cheap prices and their good liability. And now we are on to the last 3 topics, and this is all a new category. This is not companies, this isn't Dinotube series. this is something completely new, and that is controversies. The first one of these controversies is one that I know a little bit about, and that is the DinoNation shutdown. DinoNation was in Tier 1, and for those who don't recall, it was a Dinotube Discord server that was pretty popular. It had some decently well-known Dinotubers in it. However, what we're focusing on is that in November of 2019, DinoNation officially shut down. Kiki would upload a video titled "We Are Sorry," where he detailed why they were deciding to shut down DinoNation, and here are the primary reasons. So one of the reasons is that they mainly were very time consumed by the server, and they all had personal lives to dedicate to. They're all somewhat getting kind of older, you know, they aren't 16 anymore, so they really don't have a lot of time on the server, so they wanted to leave it.
Just to start off, like, we really just lack the spare time for the attention that a server like this requires. We all have jobs now and school and a lot going on in our personal lives that, you know, we're not going to expound on a lot because it's our personal lives, but we just find that...
Another big reason they talked about leaving DinoNation was a lot of negativity surrounding the server. There was a lot of stupid dramas that would pop up here and there, and just a lot of crazy shit that went down in the server that they really didn't want to be a part of.
And to add on to that, people just don't seem to be that happy on the server anymore. I mean, whenever you hear people making videos about DinoNation or talking DinoNation, you never hear like, oh my gosh, this is the best place ever, I love this is great. People are always either complaining about something, complaining about the rules, complaining about drama. No one seems to be enjoying the experience anymore.
From what I can gather, those two reasons were the primary backers behind it. And while there is not too much to this entry after this, I do want to include something else, because when I was looking over this entry, I did remember a story that actually happened during this event. So before the server shut down, pretty much everyone was oblivious to it. No one really had any clue what was going on, besides the moderators. And one of these moderators decided to inform a couple people, including myself, of the events that were about to happen to DinoNation. This moderator in particular did not really like what was going on with the server and had actually spoken out against it, and because of that, he had actually lost his moderator. So yeah, you can say that your boy was one of the first official people that knew about the entire DinoNation shutdown, so I think that's pretty cool. Next up on the controversies list is one that I know a lot about because I'm one of the people who's been pushing it over the last year, and that is Mattel's quality control. So this is referring to the fact that a lot of people have been noticing over the last year or two that Mattel's quality control is really kind of a hit and miss. This entry really just means a lot of the problems that the Mattel Jurassic World line has, like if a figure is not getting distributed enough, or if a figure has really flimsy joints. Stuff like this is what we mean by Mattel quality control. If you want to know more about it, Matthew Brando, a pretty popular Jurassic Park YouTuber, made a really good video about it a couple years back. And not to self-promote, but I've also made 2 videos about this as well. And finally, the last entry in part 3 of the Dinotube Iceberg, Dinoverse versus Paleoverse. Now, these two communities have clashed a couple of times, but there is one primary instance that I do know about pretty well, so I'm going to dedicate this section to that, and if it's wrong, sorry, but this is what I know. Dinotube was at Bliss about a year ago. The Dinoverse was popping up in our community, becoming the new norm, when a Dinotuber by the name of Dinosaur Discovery, talked about earlier, he decided to make his own show called the Paleoverse. Because of the very similar names and the kind of similar plot, the Dinoverse really did not like the Paleoverse quote-unquote copying them, so they decided to start some little beef with them. The dreaded ripoff Ranter even got involved at one point, leading to probably the worst collaboration video ever. However, if I'm not mistaken, I think that they're actually combined now. I think the Dinoverse, it's kind of its own thing, and Paleoverse, it's its own thing, but they kind of work together sometimes. I really don't know. And with that said, we are now done with Tier 3 of the Dinotube Iceberg. Man, has this been a journey. This is the second time I've recorded this video, and it took about 2 weeks to do this time around, which is a new record. I think I took a month last time, so that was pretty good. When this video is uploading, part 4 is not out yet. However, if you're just binge watching this series later, go watch part 4 now, please. And thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in part 6, I believe. Goodbye!